What if I told you that your tendency to procrastinate isn't a time management problem, but a mood management problem? That every time you delay a task, you're not actually avoiding the work, you're trying to avoid a feeling. This simple shift in perspective, that's the key to everything. And today, we're going to uncover that hidden emotional story and learn how to write a new ending for it. It's a feeling we all know. That quiet hum of anxiety in the background. You have an important email to send, a term paper to start, a client project that needs your full attention. It's sitting there on your to-do list, almost watching you. And you know you should start. You really, truly want to, but you don't. Instead, you suddenly feel a powerful urge to organize your bookshelf, or you decide it's the perfect time to deep clean the kitchen. Or more likely, you just open your phone and start to scroll. Just for a minute, you tell yourself. An hour later, the task is still there, untouched. But now, it's joined by a heavy friend, guilt. And that quiet voice in your head starts to whisper, "See? You're just lazy. You're undisciplined." For years, this has been the story we've been told, a story that equates our value with our output, and procrastination with a deep personal failing, a character flaw. But the science, it tells a different, kinder story. The research is overwhelmingly clear. Procrastination is not a weakness of character. It is a deeply human coping mechanism. It is, at its core, an emotion regulation problem. It's our brain's primitive, well-intentioned, but ultimately unhelpful attempt to protect us from difficult feelings. Think of it like this. Procrastination is a fire alarm. The sound itself isn't the problem. The problem is the fire it's pointing to. You wouldn't fix it by just taking the batteries out of the alarm. You'd look for the source of the smoke. That nagging urge to delay, that's just the alarm. Today, we're not going to try to silence it. We're going to follow the smoke and find the fire. To understand why this alarm goes off, we need to look at the science of what's happening inside our own minds. There's a constant neurological tug-of-war going on between two very different parts of our brain. On one side, you have your prefrontal cortex. You can think of this as the CEO of your brain. It's the rational, logical part that makes plans, sets goals, and understands long-term consequences. It's the part of you that knows, logically, that you should start that big project now to avoid stress later. But on the other side, you have a much older, more powerful player, the limbic system, and specifically a little almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. This is your brain's primal threat detector. Its only job is to keep you safe from danger in this very moment. It doesn't care about next week's deadline. It only cares about your immediate comfort and safety. When you face a task that feels aversive, maybe it's boring or stressful or makes you feel insecure, the amygdala screams, "Danger! This feels bad. Run away." It triggers a fight or flight response. And in the modern world, flight doesn't mean running from a tiger. It means opening a new browser tab. A 2018 German study even found that chronic procrastinators tend to have a larger amygdala, suggesting a heightened sensitivity to these perceived threats. Your brain isn't broken, it's just working a little too hard to protect you from discomfort. There's another fascinating piece to this puzzle, discovered by researcher Hal Hirschfield at UCLA. He used fMRI scans to see what happens in our brains when we think about ourselves. He found that when people thought about their present self, a certain part of the brain lit up. But when he asked them to think about their future self, Their brain activity looked remarkably similar to when they were thinking about a complete stranger. Let that sink in for a moment. To your brain, the you who has to deal with the consequences of your procrastination is a stranger. So when you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," you're not just postponing a task. You're handing it off to someone you don't feel deeply connected to. It's like leaving a messy kitchen for your roommate to clean up. It's just easier when you create that psychological distance. This combination of an ancient threat detection system and a strange disconnect from our future self all conspires to seek one thing: short-term relief, a mood repair, a way to feel good right now, even if it costs us later. So, if procrastination is the alarm, what are the fires that set it off? While the specifics can be unique to each of us, the research points to 3 primary emotional triggers that are incredibly common, especially for students and freelancers who often work with a high degree of autonomy. The first, and perhaps the biggest fire, is fear. More specifically, it's the fear of failure, or its close cousin, maladaptive perfectionism. This is that inner voice that whispers, "If I can't do this perfectly, I shouldn't do it at all." It's a toxic belief that ties our performance directly to our self-worth. For a college student, this might be the paralyzing fear of starting a 20-page paper because the blank page feels like a judgment. For a freelance designer, it's the fear that a client won't like the logo they create, so they spend countless hours researching instead of actually designing. In these moments, procrastination becomes a brilliant, if unconscious, self-protection strategy. Because as long as you haven't really given it your all, you can't really fail. You can blame a poor outcome on a lack of time, "I had to rush it at the end," rather than a lack of ability. It protects the ego, but it comes at the cost of our peace of mind. The second fire is the intense feeling of being overwhelmed. This happens when a task is huge, complex, or poorly defined. Think about a goal like write a book or launch a new website. The sheer scale of it can be so intimidating that we don't even know where to begin. This feeling triggers what psychologists call analysis paralysis. Your brain gets stuck in a loop, trying to figure out the perfect first step, and because it can't, it defaults to the easiest option: doing nothing at all. It's like standing at the base of a giant mountain without a map or a trail. It just feels safer and easier to stay in the village below than to take a step in the wrong direction. This isn't laziness. It's a completely normal cognitive and emotional response to a task that feels impossibly large. And finally, the third fire is one we often underestimate: boredom, resentment, or lack of meaning. Sometimes a task isn't scary or big, it's just boring or frustrating, or it feels completely disconnected from what we truly value. This could be filling out expense reports, studying for a required class you have no interest in, or doing administrative work. Our brains are wired to seek rewards, and the long-term benefit of having our finances in order is abstract and far away. But the immediate, pleasurable reward of watching one more video or checking social media, that dopamine hit is right here, right now. Your prefrontal cortex says, "We should do the taxes." But your limbic system screams, "Taxes feel bad. Videos feel good." And in a battle of willpower against immediate feelings, the immediate feeling almost always wins.
So we've identified the fires: fear, overwhelm, and boredom. Now, how do we begin to put them out? The answer isn't to fight fire with fire, using harsh discipline or self-criticism. The answer is to use a kinder, more strategic approach. Here are 3 scientifically grounded tools you can use to address these feelings directly. The first tool is designed for when you feel overwhelmed. Instead of looking at the entire mountain, you focus on the first, smallest, actionable step. Forget the entire project. Don't even think about finishing it. Simply ask yourself, what is the absolute smallest, most obvious first action I can take to move forward? This isn't write my paper. It's open a new document. It isn't build the website. It's draft one sentence for the About Us page. The goal is not to complete the task, but simply to begin it. Research shows that the psychological pain associated with a task is most acute in the period of anticipation. The moment you start, that pain often evaporates. This tiny step is your gateway, designed to be so small and non-threatening that your amygdala doesn't even have time to sound the alarm. The next tool is for when you feel the fire of fear and perfectionism. This is the practice of self-compassion and detachment. This is perhaps the most critical shift you can make. Studies have shown that harsh self-criticism after an episode of procrastination actually leads to more procrastination in the future. It creates a debilitating shame spiral. In contrast, self-forgiveness and self-compassion break that cycle. The next time you find yourself having delayed a task, instead of beating yourself up, try pausing and acknowledging the feeling with kindness. You can say to yourself, "It's okay. You were feeling scared, and that's a human feeling. Let's try again." Then, consciously detach your self-worth from the outcome of the task. Remind yourself, this project is something I do. It is not who I am. My value as a person does not hang on this single performance. This mindset gives you permission to be imperfect, turning the task from a high-stakes judgment into a low-stakes experiment. And finally, for the fire of boredom or a lack of meaning, the tool is to find a micro-why. When a task feels meaningless, you have to lend it some meaning, even if it's small and immediate. The key is to connect the boring action to a value you hold dear or a reward you can look forward to. For example, I'm not just filling out this tedious spreadsheet. I'm creating a sense of calm and order in my financial life. Or, I'm not just studying for this boring exam. I'm taking one more step towards the freedom that finishing this degree will give me. It can be even smaller. I'm going to finish this one difficult email right now so I can close my laptop and enjoy my evening with a completely clear mind. By finding that immediate personal reward, your brain gives a tangible reward to focus on, transforming the task from a meaningless chore into a conscious choice.
These tools are powerful for navigating the difficult moments, but the ultimate long-term solution lies in a deeper shift. It's about building what researchers call your self-control muscle. And you don't build it with brute force, but with consistent fundamental practices. This includes getting enough quality sleep, moving your body regularly, and eating well. These aren't just generic health tips. They are the biological foundation of your prefrontal cortex's ability to function. As one study noted, the single most cited reason for procrastinating was simply, I didn't have enough energy. It's also about practicing mindfulness, learning to sit with uncomfortable feelings without immediately needing to escape them. When you feel that urge to flee a task, you can learn to simply notice it. Ah, there's that feeling of anxiety again. Like watching a wave in the ocean, you can observe it build, crest, and fall without being swept away by it. Ultimately, this journey isn't about becoming a productivity machine. It's about becoming a better friend to yourself. The goal is not to eliminate procrastination forever, but to change your relationship with it. To see it not as an enemy to be conquered, but as a messenger. It's a signal that tells you when you need more rest, more clarity, or more kindness. When we learn to listen to that message, we can stop running from our work and start moving gently toward the life we actually want to live. True discipline isn't about forcing yourself into action. It's about creating the freedom to make choices that align with your values. free from the weight of guilt and anxiety. So, I'll leave you with a question. The last time you procrastinated, what was the feeling you were really trying to avoid? Take a moment to think about it, and if you feel comfortable, share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's make this a space where we can talk about this honestly and without judgment. If this conversation resonated with you, a simple like or sharing this video with someone who might need to hear it would mean the world. And of course, if you'd like to continue exploring ways to live a more intentional life, we'd be honored if you'd subscribe and join our community here at TrueFlow Life. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. Be kind to yourself, and we'll see you in the next one.